Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for all coming down and joining us this evening. We've got a fabulous turnout and we've got an extremely fabulous guest. I'd like to welcome all of you who are here at Surfer the Bar this evening, and also all of you who are joining us online live tonight at surferthebar.com. And we will have a little time later on to take some questions from our cyber viewers, and those can be sent through to talkstory@surferthebar.com. But tonight I'm super excited. You've been watching the great imagery, timeless imagery here of Endless Summer, and I'm wondering if there's anyone here who was not raised first, second, or even third generation on Endless Summer. If you haven't seen it yet, how dare you? Get out there and grab a DVD. It's a fabulous movie. It is timeless. There's only one thing you'll be missing watching it, and that's the very memorable commentary that comes along with it. But we've got better than that. We've got the original commentator here to talk to you about it. So I'd like to introduce the man himself. Please come up and join me, Mr. Bruce. I'm looking at him and I'm forgetting his last name, Mr. Bruce Brown.
Thank you. I forget my last name a lot of times too.
You'd think it was a difficult one, right? There's no excuse for me forgetting Brown.
You know, the last time I went to one of these things, excuse me for not letting you ask me a question, but it was one of them surfer things where they're honoring the modern surfers, and for some reason I got in there. I think it's because, the last living old guy or something. Anyway, all these surfers are going, and I'd like to thank my sponsor, and they're going on and on. I'm thinking, sponsor? Geez, that's pretty cool. Do you get money for that or what, Anyway, when my turn finally came right at the end, I figured they're probably going to know who I am, Anyway, I said, I'd like to thank my sponsor. There was a big silence. It said, Social Security. So.
Well, you're definitely up from that tonight.
So here we are at the next function.
Well, all of these people are not here incidentally, Bruce. They're here to see you tonight. So you're the man they came to see. Well, I wanted to check in with you on Endless Summer because I rang my mom in Australia and I said, oh my God, you're not going to believe who's coming in this Wednesday. It's Bruce Brown. And I was raised on Endless Summer, and in fact she said, you better tell him that the reason why you're sitting there doing what you do and how you were born in South Africa was because of that darn movie. So my parents were in Australia, caught the Endless Summer in the 60s, caught the bug and said, we got to go find that perfect wave in South Africa. So you touched those people around the world back then.
There's a kid in Australia that the Endless Summer affected him the same way. And I ran into him a few years back, and his name is David Hill. And it turned out that David went to work for Rupert Murdoch and did the Formula One racing and did this and did that. And I talked to him from time to time, and he was head of Fox Sports for a while. So I had some friend that had some sporting event so I called up David and said, hey man, could you get my friend's event on television? He goes, I don't do sports anymore. I go, oh, they canned you. Well, they're good for them. You're a worthless little shit anyway. Anyway, he goes, no, I'm ahead of the whole thing. And I went, why would you do that? I mean, need money? I mean, do you get a lot of time off? I mean, what's wrong with you? Anyway, so, it's funny through the years how different people, show up that saw that movie and it had some effect on them.
Sure did.
But a lot of people, some of my best friends go, that movie was a piece of crap. I go, well, I don't argue with them. It was a whole movie. What do you expect?
All right, well, I wanted to ask you about when you came early 60s, I think it was 63, 64, and you brought your film. Firstly, how long did it take you to edit down everything that you had shot around the world?
Well, not long, because, it always takes long, but there wasn't that much footage, because I just had a suitcase with 50, 100-foot rolls of film in it. So it wasn't 10,000 feet of film. But and then we showed Endless Summer just on the regular lecture circuit, where you firstly narrate it on the stage and dodge the bottle caps and all that stuff, and then it was so popular that we thought, well, we'll be great if we get it in theaters. Then we don't have to go every night, to show it. We could just sit home and watch TV and get some money,
Because you were narrating it every night as well, right? I mean, you
but
went
all the Hollywood type. Oh God, nobody's gonna watch that thing within 5 feet of the ocean. Yeah, blah, blah, They're starting to piss me off, So we rented a theater in Wichita, Kansas, in the middle of the winter, and showed it still in 16 millimeter, and it played for 2 weeks in the middle of a blizzard, and sold out every night. Broke the theater record that was held by My Fair Lady. So I'm thinking, well, that'll show those guys that it's, it'll work away from the ocean. But what do those people in Wichita know? These are the New York distributor smart guys. So because we'd done it for years, we just went to New York, rented a theater, and said, let's show it ourselves. And we blew it up to 35 millimeter, which took every cent we had, from the bank, and it opened there. In the first week, it broke the theater record. The second week, the business went down. The third week, it broke the record of the first week, which was unheard of, on the movie. So at that point, we thought, now we're going to get some distributor, because we were just being surfers, going, yeah, we're thinking of starting our own distribution company, and we're just shining them on, and we're getting calls from like Joseph E. Levine. Mr. Levine would like to see your movie. Well, great, come to the theater. Oh, he doesn't go to movie theaters. You got to send a print to, to New Jersey. And we're going, we only got one print. They ain't leaving the theater, Anyway, then we finally got it, and everybody wanted, the poster's no good. You got to re-edit, put more chicks in it, and all this stuff that they wanted to do, that I knew was going to ruin it, whatever it was. But we finally found a guy that said, he figured out how much we were in debt, said, I'll give you this much up front, and we'll just leave it, we won't change a thing. And I went, cool. Signed me up, and played in that theater in New York for a year, and got all kinds of publicity that brought the IRS down on me.
Funny how that
all the
happens.
publicity said, he's a rich guy now. You know what? I wasn't rich, but they thought I was rich. So they went back to all my old surf films, and I guess you're supposed to capitalize them. Well, we just had we had a book that said in and out. Money came in and money went out. But I guess with a movie, you weren't supposed to do that. You had to capitalize it, and only after. Anyway, they went back for all those years. I'm going, I couldn't even made another movie if I couldn't deduct what I spent. Anyway, they just nailed me for a bunch of money, and I went up to Santa Ana to pay them. The guy goes, I've always been a big fan of your films. And I went, well, what, this is BS, what's the deal? And the guy goes, well, I'm just doing my job. Well, get another job or something. I was so pissed off. I walked out, slammed the door, the glass in the door broke. Oh, no. I'm like, hot-footed it down the hall.
Well, Endless Summer wasn't your first film or your last, but you seem to have a very firm idea of what it represented, even, as you say, in the artwork of the movie poster, not deviating from your idea there. Did you have some knowledge, just in your own inklings, that it was going to be that kind of a monumental, enduring film while you were filming and producing it?
Well, if I understood you right, which I'm not sure I did, but I had no formal training at all. Got on a plane to Hawaii in 1958 with a book, How to Make Movies, and Belzy put up $5,000, to make the first movie, Slippery When Wet, and but it just, how do you get the job done? And I always thought I'd like to go to film school, so I'd learn, you know, how to make a movie. And years later, I get a call from USC going, could you come and talk to the film students? And I went, yeah, sure, that'd be bitching. At the time, I was thinking, God, I thought I might go there to learn something. But so, and before I went there, I had to meet with this guy, Bob Evans, who was head of Paramount Pictures. And he goes, because they thought I had some secret formula for a cheap-ass movie to make a bunch of money. So I knew that, you know, and he goes, well, what are you doing next? And I'm thinking, well, I don't know. I'm thinking, first of all, I'm going surfing. And then I'm thinking maybe a movie about commercial fishing. And he goes, commercial fishing? And I went, yeah. He goes, do you want any financing? I went, you know, if I'd have come to you before the endless summer, there's no way you would even talk to me. And now you think I got some secret thing to make you some money, so now I'm your pal. I go, I'm going to SC this afternoon, talk to students. Why don't you guys like put up $1 million, pick out 10 students to make a movie for $100,000 a piece, and you'll put more young people into the film business than Hollywood done the history of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And so he goes, okay, I'll give you the money. I go, no, I you know, I don't, you know. Anyway, so I went and, you know, talked to kids. I was the same age as them. And they're asking, how'd you do this? And they're laughing because everything we did was so unconventional, you know. Well, what'd you do for a work print? We just showed the original film, you know. Well, how did you do the optical? Well, we had some dye. We just dye it, you know, make the fade outs and stuff. And my wife would run a projector and put her finger in the loop when the splices went by so it wouldn't, you know. But anyway, so I asked the kids, well, how many of you guys think you can make a feature film for $100,000 that would make money? And of course they all raised their hand. One of the students was George Lucas. So that guy really screwed up by not signing him up.
He didn't learn anything.